We have 4 forms or prearranged set of movements that we use in our Kendo Fit program. They are not classic forms. They are sequences of movements that I've put together. Yes, there are bits and pieces of the classic forms that I know because, of course, that's what we're going to practice, is the things that I know how to do. So, what we're going to do is, remember, and this is, we're working on a fitness program here, once again, for you sword guys. So, some of these things, you're going to say, oh, but that's not, but from a fitness standpoint, it is. We're going to remain as true as we can to the sword art, yet with an angle toward fitness. So we've practiced Form 1 until we got it down. Ha, 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 very basically. Form 2, we've taken the same basic movements as in Form 1, if you'll notice, but done in a more flowing manner. So we're familiar with the movements. We softened them up. We made them more flowing. Now we get a little more complicated. We're going to introduce some new movements, some new ideas, some new thought processes. Okay, so we'll start in the same place. Okay. So from the beginning of Form 3, we're starting, rather than grabbing this way, like we have, remember before we grabbed like that? Well, now we're going to grab with a reverse grip. And before, when we had the string down, because remember we were striking this way or this way, now we're going to turn that string up. So the blade is down. So look, reverse grip. As I pull from the scabbard, I'm thrusting with my pommel. Pow! I hit this guy right in the face. And then I'm using my hand on the spine to lever a cut right up through his midsection. Okay? What's this have to do with fitness? It's good for your mind. Mind and body, my friends. So now, I misalign this because you don't really ever want to stab yourself, and I do a rear thrust. As I step over, I'm going to turn and downward cut. Rolling through, see how the spine comes at me? So the blade is away from me, and cut. Turning and cut. Roll and downward cut. Now, from here, we're going to lever with that shoulder like we did earlier with our little self-defense exercises. Turn, lever with the shoulder. 1. Okay. 2. Up and thrust and back. Now we get a series of a little more complicated things. Parry, 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 downward cut. Reversing the right hand. Parry, parry. These are defensive parries. The other ones are offensive parries. Parry, parry, and on the last parry, we're here, thrust, and return. Immediately coming up, down, pulling through, cut, rolling in. Don't worry, we'll go slow. 1. And we're going to roll back through here, finish. Okay. I'm going to use a real sword here to provide a little demonstration so you understand some of the things that we're doing in the third form. So as I draw out, you see this hard capped end here? This is a striking tool. So as I draw out, I'm striking, thrusting forward with that. This is close combat. Hand on spine of blade as I push to create leverage and power for my cut. Now, remember when I said earlier I want to misalign this? Well, see, I don't want to stab myself. That would be ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand and push this over as I thrust this back. That way it misaligns with my leg. Now I'm going to step across as I reverse my grip, and down it comes. Rolling, see how the spine rolls toward me? And cut. Turning and cut. Rolling and cut. Now once again employing the spine on my shoulder, cut. Immediately downward, up, spine to shoulder, thrusting inwardly, turning the blade up, pulling back. Now here's those parries we were talking about. There's an attack coming inwardly toward me, and I'm parrying it off. You see that? And imagine here comes an attack again, I'm parrying it off. And again, it's coming and I'm parrying it off. And the last time I was able to parry it off, I counter strike. Now defensively, so those are offensive parries. I drove him back. Now defensively, I'm getting attacked. I parry it off. Did I turn my body? I parry it off. Those are all thrusts coming at me. Here comes a thrust, parry it off. Here comes a thrust, parry it off. Here comes the thrust, parry it off. He overextends himself, and I'm able to thrust and return. Diagonal cut, pulling through, cut, rolling in. Turn, and finish. Okay, so most sword forms, traditional sword forms, tell a story. There's no real story being told here. This is exercise. This is learning some technique. This is having a good time and getting in good shape. I'm not trying to tell the history of a nation. I'm not trying to do anything, take anything away from anybody. I'm simply trying to have a very good exercise with a shinai. Remember, we're not going to use real swords. I just want you to understand what we're doing with the sword, so your mind is with the sword, but your body's with the shinai.